Hello designers! Now that you guys are better acquainted with how to use copyright-free images for your design projects, I want to show you guys how to create a photo collage using Adobe Spark. Before I show you, I'm going to go over a few examples of photo collages that I have created using Spark and other online apps. This example was done for my art class. I wanted to illustrate the use of art supplies and how they can be used to make messes and be creative and have fun. So while I was searching up images on pexels.com, a copyright-free website, I made sure that I focused on images of art supplies in a diverse range. So I wanted to include everything from pastels to paints to brushes to pencils. I wanted to make sure that the images I selected were evocative of my theme and weren't just random images of art. I wanted them to be focused on the actual materials used to make art. In this example, you can see I was illustrating the exact same theme, but I chose to add a quote because I wanted the images to be centered around that quote. I'm not sure if this is my best example, and that's the reason I don't presently use this for my classes. And the reason I think it would have been better is I'm not sure if the image is balanced out because there's so much color on the right hand side and a lack of color on the left. In this image, I actually did not use copyright-free images. I actually used images from my students that they created on Photoshop. My goal here in this collage was to illustrate the quote, "Design is thinking made visual." And I think I did a good job because all the images that I selected from my past students represent them in some kind of pose that I think makes them look like they're thinking about what design is. They're communicating with themselves, Brady Bunch style, within the photos in the grid. The last image also uses images from my students' artwork from previous years. In this case, I believe the message is quite clear. It's Get Certified, and I offer images of the badges students would earn if they got certified in these programs. What is common to all of these collages is the use of the grid. You can see that in each of these collages, a grid is used to organize all the diverse images that I am using here. Here, the grid is a little bit slightly distorted, for lack of a better word, in certain areas, but it's quite clear that there is a grid in format because it's 9 images and they're all organized very neatly within the overall frame of the collage. And this one I believe is quite clear with the, 12 images total, organized very neatly within the grid. So I'm going to show you guys how to create a collage on Adobe Spark by first selecting a template and then adding the images that you guys have downloaded from the copyright-free websites. Now, when I go to Adobe Spark and type in photo collage into the search bar, I'm going to get several different results. But as you may have already seen on your Canvas assignment description, I'm asking you guys to select from 3 of these templates so that I can see quite clearly the changes you have made to the original template in creating your own original photo collage. So to keep it simple, I'm going to select option number 1, which is this template that says memories at the bottom, and I'm going to select edit this template. Now, I gave you guys several themes to choose from, so hopefully by now you should have selected a theme and downloaded photos from the stock photo sites that demonstrate this theme. My theme is going to be art, once again, because it is the one thing that I'm very passionate about. So I'm going to start out by actually selecting an alternate layout for my photo collage before I start adding in my images. So on the right hand side, I'm going to scroll down to this navigation and select layout. And there are going to be several different suggested layouts that are going to offer you guys some different options from the default. So I would like you guys to select a few of these and see if those are options that you are interested in. If you guys select the default layout, I may not give you full credit because I want to see that you guys are playing around with Adobe Spark's layout and different options. After looking through all these options, I selected this layout because I appreciate how it keeps all the images neatly in a grid, but it also places a lot of emphasis on the image in the middle. I am also going to be momentarily replacing the text that says memories with something relevant to the theme I selected, but I'm going to stop before I do that, and I'm going to start replacing all of these images in the default template with images that I collected having to do with my theme. So I'm going to click on the image, the first image I see here. I'm going to select replace, and I'm going to go click the left arrow, select upload a photo, and I'm going to go to the folder that I already saved on my computer called Art Pics, where I collected a bunch of different images of art supplies. And I'm going to go and add my very first image. In case you missed it, I'm just going to do it one more time. I'm going to click on one of the images, select replace, click on the left arrow, select upload photo, go to the folder in my computer where I went and saved all these images, and wait for it to load. Now, not all these images are going to be placed perfectly within the template. So you can see for this image of the paint smeared hand, it's a little bit off center. So what I want to do is I want to double click on the image and basically just move it in place. When I select the image and move it in place, I also have the option to scale it. So I can maybe go in and focus on the paint smeared fingers by scaling it bigger. And I can also rotate the image and give it a different orientation altogether. So I would like you guys to play around with these image settings to produce an interesting visual effect. I'm going to take a little break, but in the time that I take that break, I am going to go and replace each and every one of the images in this template. Alright, that took me a few minutes to finish, but I finally replaced all of the images in the default template with images that represent art. Now, if I am dissatisfied with this layout, I can always go back and change the layout. I can always go and increase the border if I wanted to. I can always increase the size between the cells, but for now I'm going to leave it at the default orientation suggested by the Adobe Spark because I thought it was pretty good. If anything, I might increase the border just a little bit from the default. Here's what I want to do next. I want to select different filters for each and every one of these images. One of the things you may have learned about when you were learning about how to appropriate copyright-free images is that one of the ways that you can avoid getting sued or somehow getting punished for using images that don't belong to you is by altering them somehow. So when you're going to alter each and every one of the images that you guys source from copyright-free websites by mainly selecting a different filter or changing them somehow. So I can see right now that Adobe Spark has different filters that I can apply to each image. I can also blur them out, and I can also select different options for how to enhance the photo if for whatever reason the photo doesn't have enough contrast, if the saturation is down, etc. For right now, I'm going to just use the filters that are already given here by default and apply some different filters to make the images different somehow. Now there's an option that says here apply filter to all images so that I can save time, and if I wanted to make all the images grayscale, for example, I could select that option and it's going to change all my images simultaneously. If you want to select different filters, like maybe make some images grayscale and leave others in color, I would suggest you deselect that option so that you can individualize how each image looks. So let's start off with the image in the center. I feel like this one should be grayscale, so I'm gonna leave it in the grayscale filter, but I want to be able to increase the contrast of the image so that it's more obvious that I'm looking at a very paint smeared hand, and I want to focus on the actual lines in the hand and the paint marks that are dotting the hand. So I'm going to increase the contrast for that, and I might go and lower the brightness just a little bit so I can create more intense shadows. So this is one way that I'm altering the original image so that it is okay for me to use it in this work. Likewise, I might want to go and make certain images stand out. So I really like this image of the pastels, so maybe I'm going to apply a different filter to it. I'm going to scroll down and select a filter such as Colorize to make the image an entirely different color. Now, I don't think I like the way that it's dark, so I might want to go and increase the brightness of that image just a little bit. If it actually lets me, there we go. So that I can change the original way it looks, maybe lower that contrast. Basically play around with the settings in enhancing the photo until you achieve the look that you are going for. So I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes, and while I pause, I'm going to play around with altering the images in my collage by applying different filters to these images so that I can individualize them and make them more unique for my collage. Okay, I'm fairly happy with this arrangement where I make some images stand out by making them in color, and others are going to be in grayscale, while others are colorized in teal. Now I'm ready to change the text and put in some kind of words, some kind of quote, some kind of writing that somehow represents the images that I selected and the overall theme that I selected. So I'm going to click on the word memories because that has nothing to do with my theme, and I'm going to select edit and write something that actually has to do with my theme. So in this case, I might write something like get messy. Now, I don't really feel like this particular font represents what I wrote very well, so I'm going to take a minute and select a different font family that appeals to me and that further illustrates my theme. So I believe this one is a pretty good selection called Cabin Sketch because it looks like it's been drawn by hand. Now maybe I want to go and select somewhere else to put it, so I can see there's some space in this image where I could definitely fit that word. I will just have to go and reduce the size of it so that it fits within the paper in the image. So basically I'm looking for some place where it's actually going to not look so obstructed and I have enough space to fit the title. I do notice there's a few things on here, some symbols that I'm not so happy with, so I might want to double click on them to delete them because I don't feel like they have any place in my collage. I'm referring to these symbols of the 3 dots, so anytime you guys see anything you're not happy with, just go ahead and feel free to delete it. Okay, that is going to conclude my photo collage for the day. So I feel like I did a pretty decent job selecting an alternate layout, selecting images that represent my theme, changing those images somehow using the design tools on Adobe Spark, and adding some kind of word or message that represents the theme overall. Now that I'm ready to save it and submit it to Canvas, I'm going to click on download, and I'm going to select one of these file formats. So for right now, I'm going to leave it at PNG, which is a very high quality file format, and select start download. And that's what I'm going to submit to Canvas today. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me, and I cannot wait to see your photo collages. Bye!